Hi everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit Reading List, and this week we are trying so desperately to actually finish a book. I have not finished a book in over a week, and it's kind of getting to me a little bit. So that's our goal. We are also like having a very eventful latter half of the week. We're doing a lot of things. So let's just go ahead and just get right into it. I did read yesterday, which was Monday, thankfully. I read 9 chapters of You Should Be So Lucky. I'm in the 200s. I don't know like how much I have left. But I think there are like 32 chapters. So I have like 10 left. Things have progressed. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, have they had sex yet? They have. I'm getting kind of nervous though, because Eddie, the baseball player, is kind of being a little reckless, because You Should Be So Lucky takes place in the 1960. And Eddie is a baseball player who is secretly queer, and he's in a bit of a batting slump, a hitting slump. I don't know what you call it, but he's in that. And Mark Bailey is a journalist who was assigned to write Eddie's diary to be published. And Mark is not a sports writer. He follows baseball, thankfully. But he's also grieving because he was with a man whose name I can't remember for about 7 years, and he had died like I think a year and a half before. So he's still grieving, but Mark and Eddie have a connection. And the reason I say that Eddie's being reckless is because he's like, well, I'm falling for Mark, and that's the only thing that matters. And Mark is like, if people put it together that you're queer, like, your career will disappear, because this is 1960s. And so I'm getting nervous that that's gonna happen. But I am enjoying it. I think it's very sweet. I think it's very funny. And yeah, I really like it. I will finish it this week, because part of the reason I picked it up is because I'm going to a Cubs game on Thursday. So that'll be fun. But I will probably finish it either on the train there or or maybe the day before. We'll see. But other than that, that's all I've read. But that's pretty good. That's better than last week, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and go edit the vlog. I have a full day of work today, which like and yeah, that's what we're doing. So I will talk to you later. So I realized I never filmed before I left. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the books that I read. I have not picked up You Should Be So Lucky. I will be reading it on the train tomorrow. Unfortunately, the Cubs has a bag policy, and that doesn't allow like most of my bags, but I have a little purse thing, but it's too small for a book. And so I had to get You Should Be So Lucky through my library so I can read it through Kindle. But got that all figured out. I did read Quickies yesterday. I read a chapter. It was really interesting about how different aspects of identity impact same-sex relationships. And so that was really cool to read about. It was good. It was only 20 pages, so I don't know how many chapters I have left, but I know I still have quite a bit. Other than that, I started reading Convergence culture this morning for one of my classes. This is something that I will finish it in like November, but I had to read the introduction today, so it's interesting. It was written in 2006, so like some of the predictions of like how new media, like the internet, social media, that sort of stuff, some of it is like scary accurate, and some of it's like, well, kinda. So it'll be interesting. So there's that. And then I just finished listening to an hour of Vanity Fair. The thing that I was waiting for happened, which I can't say because it's a spoiler. But I'm very interested to see what the next chapter will be, and what it will involve for some of the characters, because this is quite a shift. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking forward to it, which is not nice because it's a bad thing happened to one of the characters, but I didn't like that character. So, but yeah, that's about it. I wanted to make sure I talked about what I had read. I have a very busy day today, and I still have to finish reading Convergence Culture. I have like 10 more pages of that chapter left in order to work on the assignment that's due tomorrow. And I also have another assignment that's due tomorrow for my other class. So I probably won't be reading because I also have work stuff. I'm gonna have a very busy day, but I'm gonna try to get as much of it done before we leave for the Cubs game tomorrow. Like, we'll see what I can do. Yeah. Okay, so I have to make this kind of quick because I have a meeting in like 5 minutes. I finished a book yesterday. So Stephanie and I took the train to Chicago. We both read on the train. I read You Should Be So Lucky. And then we made our way up to Wrigley Field. We got into like this, like, it's called Gallagher Way. It's like right to the side of the entrance. And if you have a game day ticket, you can go in. And so it's like, it's less crowded, which was nice. And so we had to drink there. And then we just sort of sat around for a little bit. Then we went to our seats. We went and got food a couple times. But the game was really awesome. Like, the Cubs were doing amazing. And the guy next to me was telling me that the night before they had not done amazing. And so it was really nice to see. Yeah, it was just such a good game. The vibes were amazing, which is what I go to live sporting events for. I go for the vibes. So overall, we had a really good time. We had hot dogs, we had ice cream, and like a little helmet, which we definitely kept. And yeah, it was just a really, really good day. After the game, we weren't hungry at all. And we couldn't really think of anything else that we really wanted to do, like, which is honestly totally fine. So we just went ahead and got back on the train to come home, where we continued reading. And so I finished You Should Be So Lucky. And I just love Sebastian so much. They do such a good job. The communication eventually gets like really on point. Obviously there's some miscommunication at the beginning, but it's just it's so lovely. I do wish that this series was like a little more explicit, just not because like I need it, just because I do enjoy it. And in this series, for whatever reason, especially compared to her other series, she does a lot of like fade to blacks, which is just an interesting change. But yeah, I I loved it. The first book in the series, We Could Be So Good, I gave 5 stars. And I also gave this 5 stars. So I don't know if there's going to be more in this series. I haven't looked to see if they've said anything. But overall, it was just like, it was really good. And that's the only thing that I have read since the last time I updated you, which is okay. Today, I am going to really focus on reading Quickies because I need to read like 4 more chapters in order to be like on pace to actually finish it by the end of the month. So there's that. But yeah, I'm gonna go and I will check in with you after I read more. I have read more. Not much. Honestly, my biggest stressor right now is finishing Vanity Fair. Because so I didn't go to work yesterday, so I didn't have the commute time. I was supposed to go back to Chicago today for a temple thing. I did not go because my mood has not been great. So I don't have the commute time there. I was already, like, math-wise not going to finish the book before the end of the month. So, like, now I'm really behind. So we'll see what I can do about that. As for what I have read, yesterday I spent the time in between like my meetings, and then once I was done with meetings, I just continued reading Quickies until Chris got home. So I read 70 pages, which for nonfiction in one day, pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about that. It did bum me out because I'm in the section about like intimate partner violence and sexual violence, and that I have no words. It's like, it's very important information. I do think everyone should know about that and know how it impacts people so that no one does it. But it's a bummer, and it definitely affected my mood, and I'm still not quite over it. So that's fun. But yeah, that's what I read. Other than that, like, Chris and I went to our friend's house swimming. He's actually still there. I was starting to feel like I was getting burned and my eyes were starting to hurt. And I was like, you know what, I just want to go home. I want to take a shower, which I did, and now I feel clean and I feel slightly better. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I wanted to film a clip because I know what I'm going to read next. I'm not really going to talk about much here because I am going to read Macbeth, which I'm reading as part of my like DNF'd books series. So I will have a whole separate video for that. But I wanted to acknowledge that I'm going to read it. I'm probably going to read it all tonight, to be quite honest, because it's only like, it's a little over 100 pages, and it's also like a script. Yeah. There's a word for when it's play. Oh, that's gonna really upset me. Script is the best word that is in my brain right now, but I swear there's a better word. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. So I'm gonna read that, and then I promised my dad that I would start Adventures of Sally so that I can actually read it in August when I'm supposed to, and not September. So that's the plan. Yeah, I love that we're going into the last week of August, and now I'm like, okay, time to read. I'm like, I couldn't have done this the previous like 23 days of the month. I couldn't have done that. Great, I love my brain. So I'm gonna jump into that, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to wrap up the vlog, but I am going to talk a little bit about what I've read. As I mentioned, or did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned that I would start reading Macbeth, but I wasn't going to talk about it a ton. So if you want to know my like in-depth thoughts, like go check out the you'll have to wait like a little bit, but keep an eye out for the video about finishing other people's DNF'd books. I did read the first the first 2 acts. I think I'm on act 3. So I will hopefully finish it today, and then I will start reading The Adventures of Sally, because I need to, it's my August Woodhouse book, and I would like to read it in August. So there's that. I don't remember the last time I filmed, so I don't remember what I've talked about. I think I talked about how much of Quickies I read. I read like 70 pages. I'm pretty sure I talked about that. I will finish it this upcoming week. And then I've listened to 2 more hours of Vanity Fair yesterday, and we're having like a little bit of a time jump. So I would say in the chapter that I listened to last, there was like a 6-month time jump, maybe 6 months, around there. And I'm pretty sure that in the chapter I'm going to listen to next, it jumps ahead a year. So that'll be interesting, but also like kind of good, because right now, like, one of the main characters is grieving about something, and she's so like innocent that like I don't want to read about an innocent person just being sad all the time. So I'm just like, okay, skip ahead a little bit. Like, she'll still be sad, but she'll have like coped and made some progress with managing that, so it won't be as like devastating. Yesterday I went to work, obviously, but then I went and had dinner with my friend Amy, who came down to see me, which is good, because I don't remember the last time I saw Amy. I think it's been, Sebastian is moving, so my camera's moving. Okay, he gets tired of me talking in his direction when I use the cat tree. I'm pretty sure the last time I saw Amy was like March, April. It was so cold outside. So yeah, it's been a minute. Hopefully the next time, they said they want to go bowling, which is one of my rewards. So, and I think I should get that within a month. So I'm gonna drag them bowling. But it was a really good time. We went and had sushi, but we also went to this little like bookstore that's near my work. So we popped in there for like 30 minutes. I think we each got 3 books, and I got books that are like different from me. Like, I think people know that I prefer like fluffy romance happy ending books, and I don't think I got any of those. So at the bookstore, one of the books is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock, and this is a queer horror book, and it's also set in Victorian London. Pretty much Simon and Gregor are I'm pretty sure together, but they're sort of away from society, even though they are in London, but they're free to follow their own interests. And so it says, for Simon, this means working his taxidermical art, which is interesting. Gregor's business is exotic plants, lucrative but harmless enough, until his latest acquisition, a strange fungus which shows signs of intellect beyond any plant he's seen, inspires him to attempt a masterwork, true intelligent life from plant matter. This is sort of, the way I'm thinking about it is like a mix between Little Shop of Horrors and queerness. I don't know. But it's like Little Shop of Horror, but make it queer and Victorian. So I'm into it. So honestly, I'm really hoping that nothing happens to either of the men. But we'll see. It's really interesting. I figured it'd be great to read, in the upcoming months when it's, more Halloween-y. So that's one thing. The other thing, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I went swimming with Stephanie and I didn't bring a book. So I started reading her copy of The Haunting of Hill House. And since then, I read like 20 pages. And the book that I finished this week, You Should Be So Lucky, both the main characters actually read The Haunting of Hill House, and they have like conversations about it. So of course it's like, well, now like I started it and now I'm like really interested. So I picked up The Haunting of Hill House. I'm not a horror person. So the fact that like A Botanical Daughter, that is straight up queer. This has queer subtext. And so I'll be very interested, and I'll be really interested to see like if I have the same thoughts as like the main characters and You Should Be So Lucky did, because I'm intrigued now. But pretty much 4 people arrive at a rambling old pile known as Hill House, and they begin to cope with chilling, even horrifying occurrences beyond their control or understanding. They cannot possibly know what lies ahead, for Hill House is gathering its powers, and soon it will choose one of them to make its own. So obviously, I have seen like clips from the show. I haven't actually watched the show because, again, I'm not a horror person. But I've seen some clips, and so I know kind of like the gist. But I'll be really interested to see how I feel about this. I don't know if I will watch the show after I finish the book, just because like I said, I'm not a horror person. And maybe the book will be enough for me. Maybe I don't need to watch the show, but we will see. It'll be fine. And finally, it's not a horror book, but I picked up 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So I have figured out that I think for Stephen King, I like his non-horror books. So this is, I don't know honestly what to describe this as, but it has time travel in it, where the main character, he finds out that someone he knows has been traveling back in time, and he is enlisted to also go back in time to try prevent the assassination of JFK. This is large, but I was reading it. I like, would you qualify it historical fiction? I don't know. Anyway, I like time travel. I like books that sort of examine like, well, if you change this one thing, does it have a ripple effect, and what is it? And so I think this deals with that a lot. But also, like, I've been thinking that I wanted to give Stephen King more opportunities because he has written so much, and so I have to like at least half of them, maybe. I've figured out that I've read, I think, like 5 Stephen King books, and there was only 2 that I disliked. So I liked Carrie, I liked Misery, and I liked Fairy Tale. I think that's it. Yeah, because the other 2 books were Salem's Lot and the first book in the Dark Tower series. I didn't really like either of those. So I want to, Stephen King he's very prolific, but he's also my dad's favorite author. I know Amy enjoys Stephen King, and so it's a thing where it's like, well, so many people that I love and respect like Stephen King, so I should probably read more. And he did write one of my favorite stories, which is The Body, which is a novella. The movie Stand By Me is based off of it. So yeah, so that's my little like book haul. But I am really anticipating reading more this upcoming week, so hopefully that happens. But I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.